Well, good morning. Happy Monday to you. It's good to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend. We had a very fun-filled weekend at the Hook household, and so it was a good weekend. Just to recap, we did two things on Sunday. Sunday morning was a baptism, and that was quite enjoyable. And then Sunday evening, last night, we did an event called Light the Night, and it was an honor to the fire department, the firefighters, these brave men and women who sacrifice or put their lives on the line every day to they risk death basically to protect us. And we don't even think. I mean, there is a risk there. I mean, there's certainly definitely a risk there, and many firefighters. I think there were 80 firefighters last year that died. So there's an average of across the United States 80 firefighters, and you think, well, that's not. I mean, there's other industries that that have people die too, but not that many. I mean, I'm a pastor, and most pastors don't die in the line of duty. Most civil engineers don't die in the line of duty. I guess you could have people who drive trucks for a living. They might they might die in the line of duty. But a firefighter, they do it to try to. Anyway, it was a really great honor to be able to be asked to do that last night. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, it is on our Facebook page. It's also on our YouTube channel, and you could go look at that and see what we did. And we'll see if we'll continue doing that every year. It was we had the Rincon Valley Fire Department show up with their trucks, and there were other people in the audience. It was kind of a neat thing. So that is what happened over the weekend. And then let's see. Let's take a look at birthdays today. There is one birthday today. And if you know Sharon Benkin, you can wish her happy birthday. I actually saw her last week on Wednesday. She was helping out with our Wednesday night program, and so I got a chance to see her. And I didn't know that her birthday was this week, but if I see her this Wednesday, I'll wish her happy birthday. All right, that's the birthdays. Today is going to be a little bit of a strange day. We're going to jump around in a lot of different topics, and so I know it's going to be a strange day. If you're looking for a full day of Bible study, I apologize for that. That's not what this is going to be. This is going to be a full day of a whole bunch of different topics. And so if you're not interested in something other than the Bible study, this may not, although we are going to get into some of the Bible study today. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the whole coronavirus update, because it's just fascinating to me that I want to bring up if I can. This is basically from Arizona Department of Health Services, AZDHS.gov. And this is the organization in Arizona that's been tracking coronavirus cases. And if you'll look on their on their front page, they tell you the number of cases, the number of deaths, the number of tests, the number of new cases reported today, and the new number of deaths reported today. The new number of tests, rate of cases per 100,000, rate of fatalities per 100,000, rate, total percent positive rate. And so this is, and the reason why I find these interesting and things to look at is that when we first started the coronavirus, the testing wasn't everywhere available, and so a lot of people who may have been sick didn't get tested, and we didn't know they were sick. Now we have people testing all the time. It's very easy to get a test. You walk in, you get a test. They give you the results. I'm told within 72 hours you can get your results, although there's rapid tests and there's other tests. So now I think we're actually picking up the tests. And so there are a lot of people that are being diagnosed with COVID, but the wave has already gone. The first wave has already gone through. So as you get diagnosed now, your odds of having any severe impact from that, I think, are going down, but not zero. And so, to me, the best way to kind of get a marker on how we're doing in the United States or in Pima County or in the state of Arizona is not necessarily how many people are testing positive out of the percentage of tests, but looking at how many people are actually being hospitalized. And so if we go back to here, we can see hospitalizations. Now, to me, this should be a very, very accurate way of looking at what's happening in Pima County or in the state of Arizona. And if you'll notice, at our peak, which was on July 16th, July 13th, we had 552 hospitalizations a day. And then as we go down here to September 29th, maybe September 28th, it's 34. So it's maybe 8% of what it was. And the thing about these types of spreading of the diseases is that it is exponential. So you're either going exponentially up or you're going exponentially down. When you're talking about a disease that's like this, it acts in exponential function. So it either goes exponentially up or goes exponentially down. Something happened in July, beginning of July, where we started reversing the trend of going exponentially up to exponentially down. Now the question is that because of social distancing and masks? Is it because the virus went through our community and now it's withdrawn from our community? Is it because we now had people going outside getting a vitamin D? It's in the middle of the summertime, and because there was a recommendation to go out and get vitamin D, people started going out and getting vitamin D and building up that. Vitamin D takes months to get up to a proper level. So if you go outside today and get your skin exposed to the sun for 15 minutes, that helps incredibly, but you need to do that consistently for 2, 3, 4 weeks before it really builds up in your body and you have an adequate level of vitamin D. And so you might have had the month of June, May and June, where people were building up the vitamin D in their body, and then we had enough vitamin D in our system to fight off the coronavirus. So, and nobody, I can't find anything that tells me which of those things or all of those things, and maybe they don't know yet, as to why the number of hospitalizations has gone down. And yet, the fact is that the hospitalizations have gone down from the beginning of, from pretty much the middle, is that the middle of August? The middle of July. So from July 13th on, it looks like it's been going down steadily. So whatever we're doing seems to be working. We opened up schools, it's not going up. We've released restrictions, it's not going up. So it just appears to me that based upon what I'm seeing, it is possible that some people might want to start taking risks to start doing things. And of course, we've been seeing this in all sorts of industries. The one that I'm most concerned about is churches. Right now, the current CDC guideline is still 10 people in a room. It's crazy, but that's what it is. Some states have come up with different guidelines, like 25% of capacity, 50% of capacity, 50 people. And we're not getting much guidance from the state of Arizona. And so I am kind of left hanging as to what the best outcome is. And so I'll tell you what we're going to do at Christ Lutheran Vale Church. So this is we've had several discussions. Just so you know, we are under construction of our sanctuary. The sanctuary is pretty much finished. As a matter of fact, I can bring up a picture of it. There it is. You're seeing it for the first time. That is standing in the back of the main sanctuary area. The flooring is down. On the stage, you probably can't see, but there's cardboard being propped up on the stage That's where the speakers go. We're trying to determine what color of fabric to go on the outline of the frame that goes in the speaker cabinet. But other than that, as you can see, we are pretty much nearing completion. We pretty much are complete on the sanctuary. So now the question is, what do we do? And so this is what the plan is. In the month of October, we're still going to be online we're the 4th. So on the 11th and the 18th, we're online for those 2 Sundays. On the 25th, we're going to get together and worship together outside, socially distanced. You can wear a mask if you'd like. You don't have to wear a mask. It's outside. Try to stay groups of 6 away from other people. We have no idea how many people are going to show up. We might have 20 people. We might have 50 people. We might have 100 people. We just don't have any clue as to how many people are going to show up. But it'll be outside. We believe that by October 25th, it won't be too hot. It should be very, very beautiful day, even though it is the end of October, and sometimes in October it can still be very, very hot. Well, that was one of the suggestions that people had, is can't we just worship outside during the months of June, July, August, and September? And the answer was, well, we could, but it would be really, really, really hot. Even at 9 o'clock in the morning in September, it starts to get really, really hot. But by October, it should be very, very beautiful. This should be a great time to get together, celebrate what we can celebrate. We'll let people walk through the building. I mean, we'll celebrate. Then, in the month of November, we believe that people are still going to be concerned about getting together internally into a building. We don't think the CDC guidelines are going to change much, but we are going to basically have 2 worship services and keep them to a maximum of 50 people. And that'd be 50 people attending the worship service. We will have people sign up, which worship service do you want to go to, so we can, kind of gauge that. We normally worship at 9 o'clock. We don't want to do like a 9 o'clock and then something else, because everybody will want 9 o'clock. So we've decided to do an 8:30 and a 9:30. Now you're like, that's crazy. That's only an hour. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a shortened worship service. We're not going to be singing, because the CDC guidelines still recommends no singing indoors. And the singing is what spreads the disease. Now, when we're outside on the 25th, we can sing. But when we're indoor during the month of November, we're not going to sing. And he's like, why bother worship? And I agree. I mean, to me, the thing that I enjoy most about worshiping is singing. And if you can't do that, it just feels like it's not even worship. And yet, that's only one aspect of getting together. If you remember in the book of Acts, they got together for the apostles' teaching, fellowship, breaking bread, and prayer. Of course, singing isn't even in that list, but we do it because we love singing praises to God. So when we get together in the month of November, we're going to have basically some performance type things that we can enjoy. A couple of those. We're going to have some other stuff. We're going to have a sermon. We will have communion for every Sunday in November. Figuring out how to do that in a way that can get people communed rather quickly, like we were doing when we had communion on site. We brought people in and we did communion in 10 minutes. And that was with a sermon. So we're going to kind of follow that same model, have a couple songs, a sermon, and then try to get that whole thing done in about 30 minutes. And then when that's done, we'll have 30 minutes to clean, to change everything up so that we can get another group of people in. We'll encourage people to go outside, social distance from each other, enjoy the outside, and be able to, if you're outside, I think you can be closer to people. You can actually have conversations with people, and you can actually do stuff outside. If you feel like you need to have somebody wear a mask, then tell people, I really feel like I need to be around people that are masked. And so if you could wear a mask, that's great. We don't want people hugging each other. We want people touching each other, but we do want people fellowshipping with each other. And so we'll get a shortened, modified worship service for 30 minutes, and you get 30 minutes of fellowship. During that 30 minutes of fellowship, staff's going to be in there cleaning and resetting up the room. And for the people that are doing the special music, then they'll have 30 minutes off and 30 minutes, and then they're not going to be there for all morning. They're just going to be there for maybe an hour to an hour and a half, something like that. So, and during the month of November, we are still going to stream what we've been doing for the whole summer online. So those people who do not feel comfortable coming to worship can still get what we've been doing on Sunday morning. We're going to do that in November. And also in the month of November, while we're doing all that, we have a new building. And so in a new building, we're also going to learn how to use the new equipment that we've got. Where's the lights? Where do we do communion? How does the stage work? How does the lighting work? How does the sound work? How do the bathrooms work? I mean, we know how bathrooms work, but all that stuff we're going to try to figure out and fine tune in the month of November, maybe the month of December. And then hopefully by January 1st, I'm hoping that there will be a vaccine that people are taking and that's protecting people, and that by January, we might be able to start doing other things. Now, I have heard that there are people that say, I'm not going to take the vaccine. I've also heard some experts say, well, even if there is a vaccine, it may not be good enough. I mean, I've heard a lot of different things from a lot of different people. And right now we have the fog of politics that's like covering everything. And I just don't know where to turn and who to believe as far as what the best route forward is. But I do believe that after November, that fog will start to lift, and people on both sides will start to say things that are no longer impacted by politics. At least that's what I'm hoping. Oh, I just heard the train go by. He blew his whistle. They don't normally blow their whistle right in front of my house. That's down farther. But if there's something on the track or whatever, then they'll blow their whistle. So they blew their whistle this morning. I believe that by November, middle of November, December, the fog will be lifting, and people will be telling us based upon what's the best interest of coronavirus and not necessarily what's the best interest of their political party. So that's basically, I'm hoping that at least I'll get clearer information, because we'll be out of the election season and the fog will be lifting and we'll be able to make better decisions. So that's the plan for that. Also on the 25th, we will, for leadership, after the worship service on the 25th, we're going to have a leadership meeting about 10:30 to talk a little bit about what we're doing moving forward. That'll go from 10:30 to 11:30. Then we'll have pizza, and that should be great too. And we haven't actually sent that notice out to the leadership. I'm still working on that letter and what I want it to look like, but hopefully I'll get it out today or tomorrow. All right. So I talked about the coronavirus update. I showed you the sanctuary. You want to see it one more time? There's the sanctuary. It's really beautiful in there. And that's not even all the lights on yet. That's a stylized picture just to show you what it looks like. So that's pretty cool. All of the chairs are there and ready to go. We have the tables ready to go. So we've ordered some we actually have purchased some round tables, and we have enough round tables right now we have 180 gray banquet chairs. Those are those chairs that you normally sit on when we're in room 101. Those are called banquet chairs. And banquet chairs are narrower because you can put them around a 5-foot table, and you can get 8 people around a 5-foot table very comfortably when you've got those narrow banquet chairs. The chairs that we have in the sanctuary are much wider, and you can't put 8 of them around a 5-foot table. You can maybe put 7, but then the legs don't work. And so we are going to move all the banquet chairs and store them in the sanctuary also, because it is a multi-purpose facility. And as a multi-purpose facility, we'll be using it sometimes as a large group, sometimes as small groups, and sometimes as what I want to call a banquet setup, but round tables with chairs around them. And we think we can get We don't know because we have an architect that's designed it and says, well, I think you can get this many. But, until we actually start setting up the tables and the chairs, we don't know exactly what the total number of tables that we can get in there comfortably. But we're going to try to get that done. Now that we have the tables, we have the chairs, we have 180 tables, 180 chairs. We think we can get about 200 people around banquet tables. That'd be 25 tables of 8. We think we can comfortably get that. We might be able to get more than 24, more than 25. We might get 26 or 27. We don't know yet. We want to just start experimenting with that and see what feels comfortable. And I mean, it might be one of those things where for a shorter period of time, you might be willing to have the chairs closer together, the tables closer together, so that you can get more tables in. But we're just gonna have to play around and see what really, really feels comfortable. And so we're gonna do that also. All right, so that's basically the plan. And I think I want to just spend a few minutes on Friday. We didn't. You're probably like, what happened on Friday? So on Friday, I'm sure you're aware of this, but every Thursday, the deacons get together, and we've been doing this for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. Even before coronavirus, we would do a conference call. No matter where you were, on 4 o'clock on Thursday, the deacons would get together in a conference call, and we would look at the needs of the congregation from a pastoral standpoint. We would pray for people. We'd say, okay, this person's in the hospital. Who's going to visit? How can we? I mean, we'd do all those kind of things every Thursday at 4 o'clock, and we still do that. But every once in a while, the deacons will get together in person just to have some fellowship and pray for each other. And so we did that last Friday, and so that's in the middle of Bible study because we got together at the same time as the Bible study. So I decided to pre-record the Friday's lesson, Friday's get-together. I did that at 6, uploaded it. It showed it uploaded and all that sort of thing. Well, for whatever reason, it didn't process properly, and it didn't premiere at 7 o'clock like it was supposed to. And I don't know why it didn't do that. So I immediately came back, I uploaded it again, and it didn't premiere. It didn't upload the second time. So I don't know if it was a thing on Facebook or whatever. I uploaded it a third time, and the third one actually did take. So there is now Friday's Bible study up both on Facebook, ChristLutheranVale.org, and YouTube. All 3 of those places have Friday's Bible study. You can go back and look at it if you'd like, or I'm just gonna really briefly tell you what we did on Friday so that you can see it. Basically, on Friday, we kind of finished Genesis chapter 50, and Joseph basically buries his father Jacob. They went out to Canaan and buried him, to the tomb where Abraham and Isaac was. And all of Pharaoh's court went out there, and they all mourned bitterly, and it was just a huge entourage of people that went out to bury Jacob. And then Joseph's brothers, I'll just read it real quick. When they came back, when Joseph's brothers saw their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" So they sent word to Joseph saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." And when their message came to him, Joseph wept. And I talked about, we sometimes weep for joy. And this Joseph appears to be one of those mature people that when bad things happen, they get sad. But what really, really, pulls the heartstrings of their heart is when God does an amazing thing in their life. And that's what Joseph did. And this is what Joseph said. He said, his brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, saving of many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. And so basically Joseph said, very, very mature, you meant this for evil, but God meant it for good, because God can take anything that's evil and just change it to make it good. And I've seen this happen so many times in my life. I'm sure you've seen it in your life. Something you say, this is a horrible thing. I can't believe God would allow it to happen. But then 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, when the perspective and the grief or whatever is gone, you can actually see that sometimes... Now, in the story of Joseph, God elevated him to the prime minister of Egypt. So he has reason to say, what you meant for evil is actually good. But even in our own lives, God does amazing things, and even with some of the most tragic situations. So, and then Joseph dies. Verse 22, Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years, and he saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. Also, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at birth on Joseph's knees. So it's one of those things, where you want the picture, right? The great-great-grandchild on the great-great-grandfather or great-great-grandmother's lap, and you take that picture just to show that there was that many generations represented. That's what that is. But then we go on, verse 24. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I'm about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of the land to the land he promised, an oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath and said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. So, and this is the last 10 chapters of Genesis is really about Joseph. And Joseph is a main character in Genesis, but he's not the main character of Genesis. And you got to think, well, who is the main character? Is it Abraham? Is it Jacob? Is it Adam? And I think at each level of the book of Genesis, you have a different character. But moving forward, I would say it's probably because Genesis is the backstory of the next story, which is the Exodus of the people of Israel. Really, the whole entire thing kind of revolves, in my opinion, around Jacob. Because Jacob has his grandfather, his father, and then Jacob, and then his sons. But Jacob is really occupies a good chunk of the book of Genesis. And then Jacob becomes 12 tribes that moves forward in the rest of the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And so if you wanted to say who's the main character of Genesis, you might say it's Jacob. I would probably put odds on that that's a major story, an arc of the book of Genesis. But then the next story, the next 4 books of the Bible, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, what they call the rest of the Torah. If that's the backstory to the beginning, then who's the main character in the rest of the Torah? And that, my friends, is Moses. And Moses is the guy. He's the guy in Exodus. He's the guy in Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The end of Deuteronomy is the death of Moses. So really, we expand the whole thing from the birth of Moses to the death of Moses in 4 books of the Bible. And if the backstory is Genesis, the story is about Moses and what God does through Moses, how God leads the people of Israel, that whole story. After Moses dies, then we go into Joshua, who becomes a commander that leads the people actually into the promised land. That is the next story. Now, the question you're all wondering is, are we going to get into that story yet? And I've been struggling with that. I really have, because there's Exodus is a phenomenally good story, and there's a lot of good meat in Exodus that I really want to get into. But if I do Genesis and then Exodus, then I have to do Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. I mean, you can't just interrupt the story of Moses in the middle, because while the Exodus is a major portion of the story of Moses, there is a whole long arc of story with Moses in it that takes, I mean, it took us 90 chapters to get through, or 90 sessions to get through a 50 chapter book. The book of Exodus has 40. I mean, there's probably 40 chapters in Exodus, and then we're talking about another 40. Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. We're talking about we would be here forever to do that. And there's other books that I want to get to. And so I haven't decided yet what the next step is. I'm still praying about it. Because I really would like to do Genesis. I really, really would like to. Exodus. But if I feel like if I do Exodus, then I have to do the rest of the Torah. And that's just going to take 1.5 to 2 years. And there's some stuff that I want to get to in the New Testament that is so important. And then there's some, I would love to pick up one of the prophets, one of the minor prophets, and talk about that. So, and I did do the book of Matthew, and then I jumped to the Old Testament. So is it time to jump to the New Testament? Is it time to look at one of Paul's letters? Is it time to look at the book of Revelation? I mean, is that in the middle of COVID? Is that the book that you want to look at? And then also, my children are coming into town next week, and then we're going to go out of town the following week. So I have been thinking about maybe just taking a 2-week break. You already know I'm taking a 1-week break, but I'm thinking about maybe I should extend that to a 2-week break so I can spend some time with my kids while they're in town. All of that has been swirling around my head, and I've been talking to God in the morning, asking him what he wants me to do, because whenever I'm conflicted now, I basically spend time with God and ask him to fill me with his spirit and give me direction. So I've been doing that. And so that's kind of where I think I want to leave it today. There is more stuff I want to say, but I think I'll talk about that tomorrow, because I have a whole list of things that I didn't get through. And it is 7:33 a.m. So I think we'll leave it there. Let's just quickly close in prayer. Gracious God, for this weekend, we thank you for the beauty and the joy and rest and relaxation. Lord, we thank you for firefighters we and all people who do so much to risk to bring us the services that we need. And we pray that you be with us for us today and bring us back safely tomorrow. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so that is where we'll leave it off today. And I'm so grateful that you had this time with me this morning. You spent this time with me this morning. And we will get together again tomorrow at 7 a.m. And may God richly bless the rest of your day. And until then, we'll see you later. Take care.